Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
This is Joe Pugh for IFLTV. We're here at Edge Gym. Will, just spoke to you. I'm going to let you introduce the man to your left. A big part of what you're doing, Elite Boxing Performance, and when this gym does open.
Yeah, so going forward, I'm going to be working with my good friend Joe Love. Joe Love and me go a long time back. Joe reached out to me recent. We had one sit down and I was sold. Not that Joe had to sell me anything, but he just told me what I already knew and put it in a way that this is how we can work together doing it. I trust him. I trust him with my fighters. There's no alternative motive, and he knows we've both got the same vision, same direction. We both want exactly the same thing. And going forward, I couldn't think of anyone I trust more to be looking after my fighters with me, along with Simon, coaching as well. But someone to just work their mindset, S&C, making sure they're fit and ready, and they've got a knowledge on nutrition. So this is Joe.
Excellent. Big introduction there. He had raised the bar.
I see what work Will was doing. He was having some good results. Fighters was coming on leaps and bounds. There's always room to progress, in my opinion. A lot of the young fighters coming through don't really go anywhere near S&C until they have 5, 6, 7, 8 fights. And then obviously they start introducing weights, introducing a lot more compound exercises and things like that into their arsenal. A lot of people come into the fold in terms of sponsorship deals and things like that. So this is something we're trying to get in-house from the get-go. I branched out to Will. I said, look, I feel like I can make an impact in terms of S&C, strength, endurance, mindset, so many different avenues that are going on inside people's stables, but a lot of people are sort of, what's the word to say, subcontracting it out, sending them all up the road to different camps to work with different teams and things like that. This is something that we're truly sort of grateful that we're going into the new gym. And once we get in there, everything's going to be kept in-house. We can start working with the fighters from the ground up in terms of when they do just turn over pro or they're already well and truly into their professional career. Strength and endurance is a massive part of boxing nowadays. Massive part, in fact, in any sort of martial arts, any sport, martial arts, MMA, whatever it may be, kickboxing. It's something that needs to be adapted to pro fighters. So it's something that we're very strong in the ethos of doing that from the ground up. I think you just hit the nail on the head. Look, there's always technology's helped that nowadays. Things can be done with emails, FaceTime calls, Zoom meetings, whatever it may be, and that's obviously regards to technology. You can always put someone's stats on data, on records and things like that, where people can obviously see the same spreadsheet. I get it. It does work to a degree. The most beautiful part of having everything in-house when me and Will are working day in, day out, it's a fresh idea. It's something that's thought of on the spot. We can watch someone spar, we can watch someone do pads. He can see someone with me in terms of when we're doing the S&C session and say, look, he's up with that. He might be trying to gain too much muscle. He might be losing too much weight, in fact. So in that concept, it's good to have everything on site. Things can be adapted, things could be changed whilst you're working on the job. It's not something that you've got to liaise with outside contractors as such. Everything's done under the same roof. We trust each other. When you're going to different camps and you're going to different companies, with a great respect, there could be other people there that you don't want your fighters around. It's nice to keep everything a little bit hush-hush. These days things are spoilt with social media, other people speaking other people's business in terms of fighters and so on and so forth. It does happen, it's boxing. So the main thing is, look, we're on the same page. If I can help integrate anything that I'm doing in terms of S&C, strength and conditioning, nutrition, mindset, whatever it may be, obviously I'm sure Will's going to allow me to do that, as obviously I will never encroach in what he's got to do in terms of the fighters when it comes down to the boxing. He's very good at what he does. I leave everything to him. Whatever I can do to add to their arsenal is all I'm here to do.
Will, in your opinion, does this take this project, what you've had going, and kind of moving forward into the next chapter when you do move into the new facility, does it take it to the next level?
I think so, yeah. Like, the best thing about Joe, and what his biggest selling point to me, is Joe's an ex-boxer himself, so Joe knows what it takes. Joe's been in there with some of the best, trained at Repton, been in there, done it himself, so he knows He's well aware of what works and what doesn't. Like me and Joe have had discussions. We've seen a lot out there, and other people say it about everything. We've seen a lot out there we feel like unnecessary to do for the work. So, but I think our biggest thing that me and Joe spoke about is there was a time when, like, I've used Lennox Lewis for example, where boxers were walking around and they were the closest thing to gods. They were monsters upon men. Like, they were the fittest, the strongest, the most powerful. When they entered the room, the whole room had chills, because they were the closest thing you'd think to a god, because they were supreme athletes, elite. I feel like that's gone. I feel like social media has damaged that a bit, and I feel like young boxers coming through feel like just turning up is enough in the gym. I feel like just turning up and tagging yourself at the gym, or taking a photo at the gym, or being around who people are working hard is enough. But we want to take it where Joe gets into their mind and explains to them what you're doing all right, but there's another level to you, there's something I can unlock. And that's Joe's best trait. Like, me and Joe sat down, and since I feel like I've been looking after myself since, like, myself a lot better. I've been eating right, drinking right, doing things that Joe suggested to do, and it's opened my mind to a lot. And I just feel working together from my stable, from what me and Joe are doing, along with Simon, we're going to have monsters in this gym. We're going to have absolute monsters in this gym, and I think people will start recognising it, like, very soon. Very soon. A little bit of work with myself and Joe, and then you'll see it.
Something that I've spoke to you about off camera, Will, and you briefly mentioned in this interview, is the mindset aspect of what you're going to bring in, Joe. So yeah, we hear stories about fighters having hypnotherapists, having kind of therapist, mindset. It is becoming a very, very big part of not just boxing but all sport. So yeah, from your kind of point of view, why is it so important, and what will you be implementing to make sure that the mind is strong going into the ring?
These young professionals are young professionals. There's no ifs nor buts about it. Yeah? They're young professionals. They're getting paid to do a job. An entertainment sport, that is it. In the grand scheme of things, delayed gratification is something that gets thrown out the water nowadays because of social media. All of a sudden, you've got a young fighter who's turned over pro. He's been given a sponsorship deal. He's on a big one of these, on a big TV show, televised, so on and so forth. Therefore, they already feel like they made it to a degree. Being grounded, being humble, sort of knowing your basics, your fundamentals of where you've come from, of what it's took you to get to that stage, is a massive part of what something that I'm. In my opinion, is something that I'm trying to drum back into these young fighters. Look, you've still got a hell of a long way to go. The work don't stop now, it starts now, if anything. You've been given your platform, you've obviously got to here for down to sheer talent and hard work as it stands, but now you're going up a whole nother level. It's a completely different kettle of fish. A couple of the young fighters that I've spoke to that have turned over pro, or in the midst of turning over pro, they've all said the same thing. What you're saying is so relevant, because they feel like, not that they was losing their spark, but they've accomplished something. They've not even scratched the surface. So my main big thing is, look, we break it down. We dissect everything. We see where we are now. We plan. We get everything in place to go forward. Speak to Will day in, day out. Say what this fighter can potentially do. Be honest with you, some of these fighters ain't going to get to a certain stage, and that just goes not for our fighters, but in general, out on the circuit. They're only going to hit some certain level because of their mindset. So it's very, very, very key. Learn the fundamentals. You're in the gym for a reason. You can box. But therefore, everything else along with your arsenal has to be added to it. Your mindset, your strength and endurance, all these areas that I'm looking to tackle. So again, the boxing ability is something that I leave down to Will. We'll get them to the best stages they can get to. In terms of turning these young fighters into machines, genuinely, that's what we're aiming for.
Excellent. Well, it all sounds very exciting. Last word with Will, just an update on the gym. When can we kind of have a little peek? When will the stable be making the full move?
You can come over and have a look whenever you want. But listen, we'll be over there from September. We're going to do a big open day. Hopefully yourselves can come down for it. Yeah, listen, it's going to be the place to be. We've got a lot happening in the future. It's going to be a bright future working with Joe and myself, and the stable's coming through. Like, just keep an eye out, because I'm very excited. We've worked hard for it. I've worked hard to get where I am now. Joe's worked hard to get where he is. Now we're putting it together. The world's our oyster.
Well.
Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.